All right, welcome back. So this is 2020 WIP Parade, 2021 WIP Parade, part 2. It takes a hot minute to upload an hour video. So I watch it through, I add minimal editing. I don't have intros, none of that great technology stuff that maybe one day I'll do, but I don't do right now. And then I post it. So it takes a while to upload that. I watched Priscilla and Chelsea. I put my Ann Dale, aka Large Marge, back on my Q-Snap and stitched for a while everything was uploading. So now we're into part 2. I have all my bags. I put some stuff away. I have all my bags in front of me and I've opened all my bags. So I'm ready to go. Hopefully part 2 is just not as long as part 1 was. First bag. So by the way, almost all these bags that I have, I've made myself, and there's a bag tutorial that I have where I show you how to execute the tutorial I got off of averyclaire.org. So they're not hard bags to make. You just have to follow each step by step. This one I quilted and it's got owls on it. Isn't that fantastic? So you would think this probably is going to have some Halloween in it, and it does. This one holds, what is the first one? Sometimes I put things, oh, I can't show you that one. I can't show you that one. This one, I can show you. This one is Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. And it is stitched on, let me just pull it out here. It's by Kathy Barrick. Yes, it's by Kathy Barrick. Sometimes, you know, it's Carriage House sampling, so that's why I was checking. This is stitched on, I think it's mossy. I want to say it's 32 count. It's a Lugana, and it's by hand dyed by Stephanie Bishop. I have part of this done. You know what? Let me just pause, and I'm going to go get a board to put this on so it's easier to show these whips. So just hang on for a second. All right, so this is a little bit easier, hopefully. This is just the middle medallion, and it's stitched over 1. So I really wanted to stitch this over 2. It must be 32 count. But it was just going to be like a half-inch border, and after the whole Sarah Chapel thing, I'm like, well, actually this predated that. So I just decided to stitch it on over 1. And because it's a Lugana, it's an even weave, it's not difficult over 1, in my honest opinion. Good lighting really helps though. Very fun project. The modeling on this fabric is really pretty. It's, great project, and looking forward to stitching on that this fall sometime. I might work on it this summer. We'll see. That's that bag. Let's toss this stuff to the side. Here's a bag that I got from Jen's Stitching Niche. She had these for sale, I think it was like last year sometime. And I have this fabric, but I think it's a lighter variation. Isn't this adorable? She did a great job. I picked it up out of her Etsy store, I do believe. This one, oh, and let me show you the inside fabric. Rulers. Super adorable. So this project is the Stitch Along and Morrison from Traditional Stitches. They sold, I don't know, a lot of these patterns. They're sold out now. They're not going to print anymore, but this is beautiful. Of course, it's red, green, pink. I love it. My favorite color palette. I'm stitching this on 40 count light drab by Xju, and it looks like, really, it looks like a porcelain color. It's a very light color. It's 46 count. I've started on the bottom left, and I don't even know if you can see how tiny the eyelet stitches are. They're bitty bitty, and I had a slub in the middle of one of them, and I thought, oh, I really had to work that slub out to get it so that it would lay flat. I'm stitching it with the Vicki Clayton conversion silks you can buy from her on hand-dyed fibers. By Vicki Clayton. Just Google it, you'll find it. Gorgeous. Gorgeous pattern. I really want to stitch on this one. It might be one of my next blondes that goes into my rotation once I'm done with Sarah Chapel and Dale. Two BAPs, two big girls. But we'll see. I like that one a lot. The next bag. This is fun. This is like Christmas for me. I get to look at all my good things that I love. The next one is Esther Edison by Chessie and Me. Carol from Saltbox Stitcher, she stitched this. It is gorgeous. I love it. I'm not sure what fabric it's on. This might be I think this is one that I won from Victoria Motto a couple years ago. And isn't that great? This was fun to work on. Looking forward to bringing that one back into my rotation at some point, hopefully this year. The threads. It's really, there is a black in there. There's a dark green in there. Gorgeous colors. Let's see, I think I might have some stash in here that I bought along the way. Oh, and then I started, this is the start, I don't think this had been started last time. Oh, I don't remember. Maybe it had been. This is the Garden Series by Blackbird. I have stitched the bottom row, which is these three patterns. I went onto the Facebook group called Garden Club Series, and looked at the layouts. I looked online at some layouts, and this is what I landed with. By the way, here's the threads, and most of these are in the Anniversaries of the Heart series as well. I want to say this is 40 count pecan butter. It's going to be my best guess. I have changed several things on here. And a lot of it had to do with the color of my fabric. So the outside edge of these two, now this is, what do I do with it? Oh, here they are. This is this one. I just split them in half, right? I stitched them as bookends instead of together. I'm going to stand up and show you a couple things here. I changed this to pink because this is a Lexington green on the Blackbird Designs pattern, but it didn't show up at all in my fabric, so I changed it. I changed the colors of the stems because I really didn't care for the yellowish look, but the yellow is really on endive, so it really is green in real life. But the bottom underneath, I did not stitch with Lexington green. I also stitched that with Grasshopper, which is a variegated. I stitched the outside of this Old Purple Paint. This is Rose Arbor. I changed a Rose Garden, I think. And this, the lettering also was Mountain Mist, and that melted into the fabric. So I changed it to Grape Arbor, which is the same color as this flower. Let's see. Most of that rest is the same. This is Terracotta instead of Wood Rose because I didn't have any Wood Rose. I think I changed this butterfly, but I didn't introduce any new colors. All of the colors that this is stitched with are from the patterns that are in this set. There's nothing, I did not introduce any new colors. I just changed the colors. This is Sweet Home, Olympia, Washington, which is where we live right now. We've lived in Olympia, we've lived in Washington since 2013. I've enjoyed it. It's a different place to live, but it's not really my home. My home is in Oregon, and we're going to move back there when we retire, hopefully. But we're enjoying our time here right now. I did want something to commemorate our time while we live here. So this is the piece for that, and I am enjoying it a lot. It's a Blackbird, so what's not to like? That is the Garden Club. Let me just tuck this in my bag. I think I will, though, keep this ring of thread together and consider taking out my Anniversaries of the Heart once I'm done with the garden club, because I've had it for years. I have probably had that kitted up for 4 or 5 years, and there's no reason for that. I can certainly get to stitching on it. Why do I have, I guess I'm overloaded now. I didn't know it was going to be in that bag. I don't know what I did. Probably the way I shoved it in there. All right, the next bag is Teresa Kogut, Newcastle Bouquet. I'm stitching this with my friend Allison, Allie from Allie's Stitching Studio, and with Deb Horton on Instagram. So she and I started the hashtag, and then Allie joined in. Some other people have already been stitching it. A lot of people have already stitched this, but the colors on this are phenomenal. I am stitching it on 46 count straw by Weeks on the Zweigart base. This is the fabric I cut off the end of Sarah Chapel. I thought I had enough, but I didn't. You can see the colors are gorgeous. The greens, though, I have the silk conversion from the attic. Oh, let me try this again, see if this will work better. Probably so. I have the silk conversion from the attic, but I will say that, oh, I'm so sorry about this, that the greens don't have quite enough contrast. So I'm going to use a different dark green. I'm going to pull what I have out for the dark greens and put a different dark green in. It's one of them that I'm using for Sarah Chapel. But I'm excited to get back to this one. The stitching is not difficult. I mean, and the color saturation is gorgeous. So I appreciate that it's not confetti stitching, and it's a joy to work on. Take this out. So that's Newcastle Bouquet. And I will show you Sarah Chapel. So I'm working on the letters on Sarah, and I have loved stitching this piece. This is by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is stitched on 46 count straw by Weeks. And I am a good ways done with this one. Let me go ahead and get my board here. I think this is the first time I did the video. So I have decided that I am going to alter the piece at the top, because this is the top, and even then it goes a little bit above this. And I thought I left myself like 1.5 inches, and really it's going to be about 1/2 inch, which just is not enough. Even an excellent framer, it's going to be extremely difficult. So I don't know, if you guys have ideas or input on that, let me know. Otherwise, I even thought about, I might stretch this myself and just buy a frame for it, which would be fine. I've got pins and I've got lacing thread, and I can do that. But the colors on this are so beautiful. They're incredibly beautiful. And of course there's vases of flowers, right? So it made me happy to stitch this piece. And a red house. I did change the border flowers and use Belle Soie Paprika. So the called for colors are a brownish. I'm sure that the original is faded to like a brownish color, but I like the sort of corally blush pinkish color on here. The alphabet is, or excuse me, the words are over 1, and then the capital letters are 4-sided stitch. So that is Sarah Chapel. She is gorgeous. She's beautiful. All right. Right now I'm stitching on Sarah, and I'm stitching on Andale, and I stitched on the Garden Series, and that's really what I've been focusing on. That's a WIP. That's not a WIP. Let me see what else is in here. That's Sarah Chapel. That's Stash. Here's another one. This is one I was going to work on this past fall, bring it into my blonde and brunette rotation. I I just didn't get to it. And you know what it is? Let me pull up a little bit closer here. This, all that's left are specialty stitches. Not hard, you just gotta think about what you're doing. So this is Gathering Pine Cones by Hillside Samplings. I have that button that goes on here. All the pine cones and the outer border leaves, acorns, are all specialty stitches. So the easy stuff is done. And when I say easy, again, the specialty stitches are not necessarily difficult. They're just, you got to get in the groove. So hoping to get to this one this year and finish that one. The colors are gorgeous. I do love it. All right, let me shove everything back in this bag. I'm gonna get into these bags and go, geez, I was in a hurry. But I feel like, you know, try not to take too much time. All right. Oh, I showed my mom and my sister this one recently. Prairie Schooler, Prairie Flowers. This is such a Prairie Schooler color palette. It really is. And again, I love stitching flowers, but I wanted to do something completely different. So I ended up stitching this. I have a piece of, I think this is probably a 32 count that's been in my stash for a long time. It's just a Zweigart, probably a cream or an antique white. I stitched this in silks from my stash. I have no idea what silks they are. I just pulled threads and stitched it, which was a lot of fun. I didn't keep track of anything. I stitched the whole thing at once. It's a variety of silks. It's not just one brand of silks. I really believe I just need to get back to my stash and use what I have, because I have a lot of good things. And I love this. All four of these are going to be side by side in a row, and that's how I'm going to frame it. So looking forward to working on that again at some point. This is a new start. And this one is a recent kit from Country Sampler, Mary Griffin, 1824. Yep. A lot of over one, some flowers, a fun border. I think this calls for a fiber on a whim, 40 count parchment. This looks like Picture This plus Velt to me. And I'm not sure. I'm going to call them and ask them. It's the same like color as that. It's got a green cast to it. But I'm not sure. But the color saturation on this is amazing. Amazing. So the colors are mostly weeks. This border is called Otter. I think it's what it's called. Sea Otter, maybe. I probably could pick it up and look at it. Cypress. What was I saying? It's cypress. It is a beautiful teal color. It's gorgeous. This is pink sand. Is that pink sand? It is. Yep, pink sand. And then there's a lot of the neutrals with weeks, like the bee's knees, and yeah, I love it. So it's Mary Griffin. Country Sampler, I'm telling you, they have a way with putting fiber and threads together. It's gorgeous. I was also poking around looking at this one. Okay, so Jan Hicks and I think we must work from the same WIP stash, because look at this. The Leeds House Sampler, she has been working on it. I think other people have shown it on their WIP parades too. Isn't this a gorgeous color? It is so incredibly beautiful. It is so beautiful. I don't remember what fabric this is. I would have to go look at my WIP parade last year. Why I haven't been stitching on this, I don't know. And I think it goes this way. This is how far I am. So just a little bit of the middle. I did a middle start on it. because at that point I wasn't doing lower left starts, I was doing middle starts. But with samplers, I pretty much started just everything on the lower left unless there really is no outer border or structure around the outside. Mirabilias, I still do center stitches starts because they don't have borders usually. And it's being stitched with sulky threads. This came with as a thread pack with the design. You bought it separately, but you could buy it when you bought the pattern. So, all right, I'm cruising. Yes. Next, oh, I love both of these. I love them. I love all my WIPs. Another one I share in common with Jan Hicks, which is Midsummer Garden 2017. This is by XJU. Now she dyed the fabric, dyed the threads, and made the design. Flowers. Her threads are gorgeous. They're very sort of muted, beautiful, beautiful colors. And the fabric is called, I can't remember what it's called, Thunder Clouds maybe? I stitched this at Lori's when we had a girls' weekend. We call it the Sisters of the Bacon. Like this one behind us so you can see it better. We had such a great time. It was so much fun. With those purples and that calligraphy kind of writing, just, it had me immediately. I love this one. I think Jan mentioned in her video that she wasn't sure if this is available still, but I think it was down for a while before I bought it. First of all, I saw it and I immediately was like, I need to buy that, but I waited. And then when I waited, it wasn't on there. And then I went back sometime later and it was back up. I think it's kitted with a different count, like maybe 32 count. And I asked her if she could kit it with 40, and there was no problem with that. She's super responsive. I find that she is very easy to work with. And yeah, so I recommend her. Blue Flower, When Lilacs Bloomed. This is a sweet, sweet, sweet sampler. I am stitching this. This is on like Vintage Lilac by Lakeside. So it's a, I didn't know that they dyed a purplish color. Just a center start, not a big one. And the colors on this are really quite beautiful as well. I found that I really have a lot of, spring is my favorite time of year here. I just love the beauty of where I live, especially in the spring. Everything looks like freshly manicured lawns and all the flowers. There's lots and lots of flowers here in the spring. And sometimes it rains forever, but sometimes you just have great stretches of beautiful weather where you get out, you can get outside, and oh, I really enjoy it. All right, I'm cruising. Just trying not to go too far over on these. Although an hour, I mean, Lord, it's going to take days to watch all these videos. You're a Grand Old Flag by Samplers Remembered. Samplers Not Forgotten, sorry. I stitched this, started it with my friends Jean and Donna when we were at Country Sampler. We went down to the basement to the clearance and bought Belsois silk kits. They had like collections of silks that they put together in bags that they were clearancing out. And from that, went ahead and did a conversion and started stitching this particular pattern, which is gorgeous. Started on the, I think this is the upper left corner on this one. I don't know, was I stitching that in hand? I don't remember. The fabric, I think this one was this was per barley as well. It's a Lakeside. We picked up from there. Here's the silks. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I think Donna. She is live from the She Shack. That's her Flosstube channel. And she needs to do another video. She finished it. I'm not sure if anybody else has finished it. Summer at Hollyberry Farms by Stacy Nash. Threads. I'm terrible with the thread display, but I keep putting you through it. I keep showing it to you anyway. Sorry. I'm stitching this on 40 Count Espresso by R&R. And, oh, that red on that espresso is gorgeous. And I take it out of the bag and it still smells like coffee. R&R is great fabric. All right. I'm going to tuck this back in this bag. I feel like I'm flying through this. Next is, oh, that's going to be a restart. And that's, okay, I'm going to put this with this other bag. Now, I've been thinking about this one. This is Good Company by Scarlet House. This one says, she lives on a hill overlooking the sea with only her dogs for good company. She doesn't need less, she doesn't need more than to hear the waves crash into the shore. I am stitching, this is the one that I'm stitching on Pear, Lakeside Pear. And although her photo does show a green background, she did a great job with the photo. And I have, this is not vintage Pear, this is just Pear. I just don't love this color. It bothers me. It bothers me, right? And it's my WIP and I just need to own it, but I am going to restart this on a different fabric. I don't love stitching on this. And like I said, I don't have time to stitch on things that I don't love to stitch on. So that one I'm going to put in a restart pile. And I do love this pattern and I am going to stitch it. I'm just not going to stitch it on this fabric anymore. So that one's going to go to the side actually. That side over there. Next is Elizabeth Mears. Somebody finished this recently on Instagram and it's a big girl and it's gorgeous when it's done. I started this at the New Jersey retreat, the first one that was a Flosstube New Jersey, and Lori Mischievous Stitches was there. We both bought this and started it. I just haven't done a whole lot on it. I need to just start working on it because honestly there's a lot of white stitching and a lot of blocks of color on it. And the next one is, I picked this up from Country Sampler. This was a retreat kit. I didn't go to that retreat, but I bought the kit and it's come into my garden. It's since been released and you can buy it. It's being stitched on 40 count velt. Okay, so this velt has tan in it, not just green, where the other fabric had a lot of green in it. This is how far I am. Not super far. Some people don't like velt. I love velt. I love it. Okay. Another blackbird stitched on the front of a bag. I don't remember what this one's called. Spring something. I think I borrowed it from someone. I don't think that one's in my stash. Kit it up, kit it up, kit it up. Okay. I got a lot of kitted up stuff too. The Village at Hawkrun Hollow. I've been thinking about this one lately. This will be a great summer stitch, and I might pull it out this summer. I'm on block 1, and I think I didn't work on this at all in 2020. And I want to say, oh, I am using the DMC version on that. Let's see. Oh yeah, these are all kits. I need to organize my bags a little better. I've got lots of kitted up stuff. But you know when you go different places and you're in a hurry, sometimes you just throw stuff in your bags. Well, I do that. I do it. Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut. A lot of people stitching this. I'm stitching it on 40 count vintage navy beam. And this is my start. You can see I have a lot of things just barely started. On this, I might change a couple of these colors. I haven't decided yet. I didn't want to get too far into it and have to unpick. So that's kind of on hold. Long Dog, Life After Death. I love this one. This is a Silks for You variegated. This is the lower up corner. Variegated purple and blue floss. I think it's hanging up on my floss rack, but I love it. I love it. I don't know why I haven't stitched that one any more than I have. I have answers for nothing other than I'm stitching as fast as I possibly can, which I'm sure y'all can relate to, right? We stitch the hours we can, and we pick the projects that we can, and we do what we can, and that's all we can do. This one is the Linen and Threads Stitch Along from 2017. I have no idea what linen this is. Even at the time I started it, I don't think I knew what linen it was. And it's huge. It's really long. I am not sure if I will stitch the whole thing. I probably will pick out the bands that I like and make an abbreviated version that's maybe, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I did introduce some Kreinik into it that's really sparkly on this band. And it added a lot of vibrancy to this particular project. So that's being stitched with the DMC floss. I wonder if it's in here. It must be. Yep, DMC 4030 and Kreinik 3214. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of looking forward. I'm going to pull that out. Put a plan together. Maybe I'll put that one in my rotation. Next, okay, so this is an oldie but a goodie, revitalized. This is a bag, I think Lori Nugent. Lori, I don't know. Did you make this bag for me? You might have. It's super cute. It's got patriotic whales in the back. Look at that. Stinking adorable. This is a silk conversion. Might be my working stash right there, allegedly. I am stitching this Country Craft Shop. I'm stitching it silks, and I'm changing some things, like I'm not going to have this roof on there. I'm going to change the roof. And I'm changing, I have no idea what fabric this is. I don't know. But I completely changed the color palette to silks, and you can see they're way more vibrant and they're prettier. Changing some of the signs. I removed about 14 hearts out of the pattern. This pattern is from the 80s. But I'm updating some things. It's going to be fun when it's done. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like. It should, you know, look like the pattern, but it will look like an updated version of the pattern. All right. Oof. My poor silks. What a mess. I should spend some time organizing that one. Next is, let's save that for this one. on, hoity-toity. I know Jan's working on this one too. I think she was enabled by me on this one. This I have, once I watched her WIP video, I'm like, this is probably the next thing that's coming back into my rotation. The very next thing. As soon as I finish my Sarah Chapel, this one's coming back in my rotation. This is DMC, straight up DMC, no silks. And the color arrangement on this one is amazing. I am amazed that this is all DMCs. And it's so subtle. It's so pretty. I can't wait to finish this, frame it, and put it on my sampler wall. It is, to me, this looks like an antique silk. An antique pattern. But Long Dog, she's incredible what she comes up with. I don't know how she does it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Just one. Oh, I guess I took one out of there. As I'm finding a Mirabilia along the way, I'm just sticking it to the side so I can put it in part 3. So I can do all the mirrors together. 4 bags. Where are we? 33 minutes? That's not too bad. This one shouldn't be a full hour. Shouldn't be a full hour. Straight out of Cross Country Stitching magazine. What year is this? 2006, February 2006 is Redware. I didn't stitch on this last year. This is over 1. I'm stitching this over 1. And I love this. It's very folk artish. I believe this is a Dixie sampler fabric. It's sort of like cherry pit or something like that. It's got that kind of a hue to it. There is some back stitching, but it looks like a fracture. It's beautiful. What's on this one? Oh, where's that pattern? This is the Innocent Sampler. I spilled red wine on this, but I think it's on the edges and I think it will be okay. I had to immediately wash it to make sure that I got it out, but I had stitched a fair amount and I definitely need to see if I can press this. If I can't press it out, I might restart it. I'm not sure where the pattern is, so I'm not gonna be able to point you to it. It's like, her name is Antique Cross Stitch, something with antique samplers or something like that. If you want to know, you can always ask me and I'll see if I can hunt down the pattern. It's somewhere in my stash. It could be in another bag, I don't know. Oh, what's underneath? Hannah Sanderson. Yep, see how, yeah, I doused everything. Yep. That's what it is. Cross Stitch Antiques. Antique Reproduction Sampler, Innocence 1840. Then I have Hannah Sanderson. I was gung-ho to start this. I couldn't believe it was being reproduced. Dutch Treat Designs reproduced it. It had already been reproduced once. The treat was not, the pattern was not available. So when she did this, I was ecstatic. And I started in the middle, and now I probably would have started on the corner. Kyle Reckemeyer did it, and he finished the whole darn thing. God bless him. I think, I'm not sure what fabric this is. It looks like it could be Meadow Rue. That is that beautiful butterfly in the middle. And why I'm not stitching this, I could not tell you. It's so pretty. There are 2 conversions. There's a light conversion and a dark, and I picked the dark on dark fabric, and she's fun to stitch. I'm not sure what I had thought about doing is cheating and just stitching up to this band and not stitching all of this lettering, and that's still a high likelihood, something that I'm very likely to do. Okay, I'm cruising. I got a lot of good stuff to work on. What else do we have? What other goodness is in here? Oh, I was thinking about this one the other day too. I think I saw Coffee Stitcher working on this one on Instagram. It's Quilts by Long Dog. And Juliet Reflections got me thinking about the dark fabric. So I started this on, I want to say this is, it might be Weeks Cocoa or Mocha, something like that. It's going to be beautiful when it's done. And it doesn't look like it's a difficult stitch. There's probably quite a few color changes on some of this, but it's like every little bit is a little finish. So, oh, I can't wait to stitch on that. Let's see, which one is this? Okay, so this is Jane Kelly by the Scarlet House. It's such a beautiful pattern and fabric, pattern and design. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling rummy. Look at the butterflies on there. Now, I stitched this much before I realized that every single one of these has like 6 colors in it, and so I'm not going to continue. I'm going to do a conversion on it. I don't think I'll pick it out. I'm not sure. It's a pretty good size piece of linen. I'm not sure how big she is. I might just restart it in the other corner. It's really pretty. I just think I'm going to do a conversion. I don't know. I got a lot of stitching to do. I can't be fiddling around with this. True Wisdom. This was a gift from Kyle Reckemeyer, one of my unicorn charts. 1-2 Stitch a Few. She stitched it on Instagram. She stitched it at the same time, and she did a conversion. This was charted with Vicki Clayton Silks. Vicki Clayton was not making silks at that time. I had Juliet Reflections do a conversion for me, and I bought the silks from her. I think I'm going to change some things though, because what I liked about 1-2 Stitch a Few, I liked about hers is that her overdyes had a lot of motion in them. A lot of the variegation made it very interesting. And the chart, the called for threads are not variegated. So Julie did exactly what I asked from her. She did a beautiful job, but I think I'm just going to change a couple things to make it a little more interesting. So I'm to the point where I'm not even stuffing stuff back in my bags because I'm down to the end. Oh, I already did this one. Oh, I did that one. Okay, last bag. And then I'll have a Mirabilia? No, I already did this one too. Huh. Truly the last bag. Okay, so that is, yeah, I got everything. Oh my gosh. If I missed a bag, last year I missed my Hade, and I don't know, you guys. That's the majority of my WIPs. Everything that's not a Mirabilia, even you got a Mirabilia in the first, or a Nora Corbett in the first video. So that is the WIP parade for this year, excluding Mirabilias. I'm going to do a separate one for that. I'm going to show you some finishes and some WIPs and a couple kits. And this year I'm going to finish Sarah Chapel. That's slated to be my next finish. I'm working on Ann Dale. My goal for 2021 is to finish Ann Dale, or March, whatever you want to call her. I'm going to bring Hoity Toity into my rotation next once Sarah Chapel is done. And I might not stitch exclusively on Ann Dale, but I might. I'm enthralled with her right now. So, and I do want to work on my mirrors too. I definitely have not paid any attention to them, and there's some beautiful ones in my stash. So thank you for watching. If you want to hang out there and watch part 3, I will post this one and I'll work on part 3 next. Talk to you later.